What does this tell us about the court's approach to this particular case?
Yes, well, thank you for having me today, Mark. And this is a very unusual case that's before the Supreme Court now. Generally, the Supreme Court likes to take a case after it's been through the lower courts and after arguments have been developed in the lower courts so that the justices have something to work with when they make their rulings. Now, what we're seeing here is the Supreme Court has actually taken this case as an emergency appeal, which is somewhat unusual. As I mentioned, the court likes to have the lower courts go through the entire rulings so that the Supreme Court can look at their decisions and then decide on the legality of their decisions. Now, this case is also unusual not only because the Supreme Court is taking this as an emergency appeal rather than a full-blown case, is because they're not really going to rule on the issue of birthright citizenship today, which is a very important issue. This is going to be very controversial, and it's likely going to hinge on one clause in that to be an American citizen, you have to be subject to the laws and the jurisdiction. It's that one phrase, and the jurisdiction, this entire case hinges on. However, before the Supreme Court even gets to that issue, they are expected to rule on whether a district court judge can issue a nationwide injunction. What that means is, can a party in a legal dispute shop around and look for a judge that they think will rule favorably and then use that judge to block a president's order that affects the entire nation by having it blocked in that one district? So essentially, the executive branch, Trump's position is that these district courts are overstepping their boundaries. A district court is only supposed to rule on the parties before them in that court proceeding, and their ruling is limited to their district. They do not have jurisdiction outside of their district. There are over 600 district court judges in the United States. What that means is any one of those 600 judges can completely stop an executive order by President Trump by blocking it from taking effect over and across the entire nation. So the Supreme Court's initial issue on the authority and jurisdiction of district court judges is going to make the difference between whether Trump can carry out his agenda over the next 4 years, or if any order Trump issues can be immediately blocked by a district court judge, thereby affecting the entire nation and indeed foreign policy and the entire world.